Hey everybody, and welcome to Pit Stop Perspectives. I'm Trace Malden, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Walt Disney World Speedway.
Everybody likes a winner, right?
Three wide finish.
That was old school ass whipping.
Today, the Magic Kingdom will turn a dream into real life for Indy Speedway owner Tony George.
For many, this might be the first time you've ever heard of the Walt Disney World Speedway. And no, I'm not talking about the go-kart track in the Magic Kingdom. I'm talking about the 1-mile tri-oval that they built on Walt Disney World property. This track was built less than 1.5 miles away from the front gates of the Magic Kingdom. This track was owned by the Walt Disney Company and operated by IMS. It opened its gates on November 28, 1995. The track's primary use was a Richard Petty driving experience for Walt Disney World Resort guests. However, it actually hosted numerous racing events for a number of different racing leagues, including NASCAR and IndyCar. Because this track was built by IMS, it was nicknamed the Mick Yard, a play on words between Mickey Mouse and the Brickyard. They broke ground on the track on June 6, 1995, and the track opened on November 28th of the same year. The track was a 1-mile tri-oval that was less than 1.5 miles away from the Magic Kingdom. The track had a maximum of 10 degrees of banking and an asphalt surface. The only permanent facilities that were built were the track itself, the walls, and the catch fence. On race days, temporary facilities such as grandstands, restrooms, and concessions would be brought in and then taken down after the race. IndyCar raced at the Walt Disney World Speedway from 1996 to 2000. The race was called the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World. The NASCAR Truck Series used the track for the Chevy Truck Challenge in 1997 and 1998. USAC used the truck for the Formula Ford Walt Disney World Challenge from 1996 to 1998. And the USAC Silver Crown Series used the track for the Silver Bullet 50 from 1998 to 2000. Some of the notable names to have won at this track were Tony Stewart in IndyCar and Ron Hornaday Jr. in the NASCAR Truck Series. Unfortunately, this track was plagued by a number of issues, including parking problems and injuries. The track shared a parking lot with the Magic Kingdom. On race weekends, the parking lot would be used not only by race fans, but also Walt Disney World guests. However, the parking lot was not big enough to be able to accommodate both. Disney's first attempt to find a solution to this problem was in 1996. Disney had guests wanting to go to the Magic Kingdom park at the Epcot parking lot and take the monorail from Epcot to Magic Kingdom. Obviously, this caused a great deal of stress and long lines waiting for the monorail. Not to mention, the trip itself took 15 minutes coming and going. Disney continued to do this into the 1997 season. However, because of numerous complaints from guests, they eventually stopped that. Instead, in 1998, Disney sent race fans to Epcot and had them shuttled by bus from the Epcot parking lot to the track. Obviously, NASCAR fans are fairly used to being shuttled great distances in order to get to the track. However, the problem came with Disney's infrastructure as far as the bus system was concerned. Believe it or not, Disney did not have enough buses to accommodate both their resort guests and the race fans. So Disney had to bring in an outside bus company in order to get the fans to the track. This obviously contributed to increased expenses for the track. On top of that, the track had been built quickly and cheap, and that became more and more evident as time went on. Although the racing didn't seem to be bad, there were numerous injuries that took place at this track in a short period of time. The Walt Disney World Speedway became a popular place for teams to go in the winter months to be able to do testing because of the relatively mild winters that Orlando has. However, it was during those test sessions that issues started to arise. During preseason testing on January 11th of 1997, IRL driver Eliseo Salazar crashed in turn 1. He suffered a fracture of his lower back and missed 2 races. 2 weeks later, on January 23, 1997, driver Davy Jones broke his neck after a practice crash in turn 3. On January 6th of 2000, driver Sam Schmid was paralyzed after a crash at the Walt Disney World Speedway. I do think it's noteworthy that this was before the safer barriers became widespread throughout racetracks. Therefore, this track didn't have one. Many believe that most, if not all, of these accidents could have been avoided had safety barriers been installed. However, safer barriers did not become popular until the following year in 2001 after Dale Earnhardt's unfortunate passing in Daytona. The year 2000 was the last year that any racing franchise would have this track on their schedule. The track from that point on was used primarily for the Richard Petty driving experience, the Indy racing experience, and the exotic driving experience. However, on Sunday, April 12th of 2015, during a routine ride in a Lamborghini at the exotic driving experience, an instructor was killed when the driver lost control and crashed head-on into a safety barrier. I do think it's noteworthy to mention that this experience had the drivers drive counterclockwise on the oval part of the track before going into the road course through the infield. I don't believe this was ever the intention of the designers, and I can't help but question this decision. As a NASCAR fan, looking at the photos of the accident, it's obvious that this would have been only a problem if the track was run counterclockwise. The police investigation following the incident actually notes the same thing. Obviously, this incident took place years after any of the racing series had been racing there. I can't help but wonder if the track management at the time was qualified. If they were, I believe they would have been able to notice the potential danger from running the track in this way. Disney had announced that the track would be closing and demolished just over 2 weeks before this incident. The track, however, did not close until August 9th of 2015. The reason Disney gave for the closure was increased parking concerns going to the Magic Kingdom. However, I believe the track was no longer profitable enough for Disney to justify continuing to operate. All that remains of the Walt Disney World Speedway today is a tri-oval-shaped retention pond. Looking at aerial photos of the area, you can obviously tell where the track once stood. In fact, there's a road going around the retention pond that is almost exactly where the track used to be. If you've ever parked at the Magic Kingdom, you've driven on this exact road and driven right past what used to be the Walt Disney World Speedway. I really think it's a shame that this track didn't catch on and become more successful throughout motorsports. I think it's mostly to do with the infrastructure that wasn't put in. However, I think it would be an awesome place to hold the NASCAR Clash today. It's close to Daytona, so it would be convenient for the teams, and it would also bring a lot of attention to the sport right before the Daytona 500 because of its connections with Disney. I really think the track was doomed from the beginning, however. Although it was operated by IMS, Disney obviously had a lot of involvement in the track's operations and development. The biggest mistake I think they made was building it so close to the other resort areas. Disney has tons of property. I don't know why they couldn't have built this somewhere where it was a freestanding facility. Regardless, I think this is an awesome piece of racing in Disney history. I'm a big Disney fan and a huge NASCAR fan, so this is the best of both worlds for me. Did you know about the Walt Disney World Speedway? Did you watch one of the races? Or did you even get a chance to drive on the track at one of the different experiences that they offered? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your experiences and memories. There's not a lot of that out there for this track. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make like Christopher and hit that bell so you can get notified on all of our latest NASCAR content. I appreciate you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.